And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lawanda McAllister, and this is my final research presentation for the Masters in Journalism and Mass Communications program. And the title of my project is The Role of Artificial Intelligence in Newsrooms of Guyana. And in this presentation, I will walk you through the background, research design, theoretical framework, findings, and reflections on this important topic. Now, the background study of this research. Artificial intelligence has been rapidly reshaping the global media landscape, offering journalists tools that automate writing, editing, and even content analysis. However, in Guyana, AI integration remains relatively limited, unstructured, and under researched. And so this study focuses on understanding how Guyanese journalists are responding to these emerging tools, what tools are being used, and the implications of journalistic creativity, ethics, and newsroom workflows. Now, the research problem. The core problem addressed in this study is basically the lack of formal AI policies, training, or research surrounding the use of AI in Guyanese newsrooms. And although journalists have started using these tools like Grammarly or ChatGPT, many are doing so without guidance or awareness of ethical implications. And so the concern is that AI may enhance productivity but at the cost of journalistic independence and creativity. And this research seeks to explore those tensions and propose solutions. The objective of this study. Now, the objective of this study are fivefold. One is to identify the types of AI tools in use, to measure how frequently they're used, to assess how AI affects productivity and creativity, to explore ethical concerns, and finally, to recommend policies and interventions that can help integrate AI responsibly into Guyanese journalism. Now, the research questions. These objectives that we just mentioned were guided by specific research questions. And these includes what kind of AI tools are journalists using? How often are they using it? What impacts they report on their work? Um, whether training or newsroom policies exist, and how they perceive the ethical risks associated with AI driven content creation. Now that we've mentioned that, let's take a look at the theoretical framework. Now, for this study, I decided to focus on four theories, which is the diffusion of innovation theory, the technological determinism theory, media ecology, and journalism ethics. But I just want to narrow it down to two theories, which is the diffusion of innovation by um, Evert Rogers and the technological determinism, sorry, by Marshall McLuhan. However, these two theories were central, I believe. Now, Rogers' theory explains how innovations are adopted, and it basically helps to interpret why tools like Grammarly and ChatGPT are more widely accepted. McLuhan's technological determinism, it basically helped me to assess how AI might fundamentally reshape how journalists work, and it tells stories, not just what they produce. Now, the research methodology. I used a mixed method approach. I combined surveys and interviews. Um, a total of 50 journalists from these four major newspaper company agencies in Guyana, which is Guyana Chronicle, Guyana Times, Kaiser News, Fabric News, were invited to participate. However, only 30 participated in this or responded. Um, and that represented a 60% rate. Now, the tool used included was Google Form questionnaire, and an interview guide. Both of these designed were designed to capture basically qualitative and quantitative insights, and the participants were selected using um, purposive sampling based on their current involvement um, in newsroom activities. And the key findings. Now, the results were insightful. 73% of respondents said that they are familiar with AI, and many use tools like Grammarly, ChatGPT, and transcription software. However, 70% reported that they've received no formal training or guidelines. Perceptions of AI impact on creativity were mixed. Some felt it enhanced their work, while others believed that it reduced originality. And a major concern among the respondents were the ethical implications of AI, especially the risk of misinformation or biased content. Yet, nearly all supported the idea of formal AI policies in newsrooms. Um, Here we now have some of the charts and graphs that basically illustrate some of the findings of this research. Now that you've had a glimpse of that, I would like to jump into the limitations of this study. Like any research, this study has its limitations. And the sample, I could say first that the sample size was relatively small, 30 respondents, and it focused only on print media. Broadcast journalists and digital native newsrooms were not included. Additionally, since AI youth in Guyana is still in its early stages, much of the data reflects preliminary experiences rather than a long term outcome. Recommendations? Based on the findings, I would definitely recommend that Guyanese newsrooms implement structured training on AI tools and ethics, develop newsroom specific and national level policies, ensure transparency in AI generated content, and maintain human editorial oversight. Now, these steps will, I believe, would help safeguard journalistic integrity while allowing for innovation. The learning outcomes. This project really allowed me to deepen my understanding of digital journalism and its ethical implications. I also developed essential skills in research design, mostly interviewing, data analysis, and academic writing. And most importantly, I gained insight into how rapidly evolving technology must be examined, um, how rapidly evolving technologies must be examined critically in local contexts like Guyana. The conclusion. Um, in conclusion, um, I'd say the AI is beginning to influence journalism in Guyana. And while tools like Grammarly and ChatGPT are enhancing efficiency, they it's safe to say that they are real concerns about quality, ethics, and policy gaps. And my research highlights the importance of proactive strategies to ensure AI serves journalism without replacing um, journalists. And that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. I do welcome any feedback and would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you so much.